Well, with more on Mayor Tory's decision to step down, we're now joined by Toronto City Councillor Paula Fletcher. She represents the city's Ward 14 and has done so since 2003. Councillor Fletcher, it's been a while. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Listen, Mayor Tory has made it known that he'll be leaving, but as you and I speak, the timeline around that still seems really fuzzy. How problematic is that?
I think it's really fuzzy because with the strong mayor powers that he sought secretly during the last municipal election, and then they were given by the Ford government, the budget that we're going to be deliberating on Wednesday is his budget. It's the mayor's budget. It's no longer the council's budget. And the powers under the strong mayor are non-transferable. So I think he has to be there in order to actually have the budget debated. And that's been this stretch of time between saying I'm resigning and I'm actually handing in my resignation. Two different things, Michael.
And I guess part of the problem here is that when you talk about the budget, we're talking about billions of dollars to a city that, stretches from the wealthiest of the wealthy to a city that really has some strong needs and are looking for some guidance.
We have our budget at $16 billion. Yes, $1 billion. It's larger. It's the largest budget of any city in Canada. Quite frankly, it's larger than some provincial budgets, and we need to get about, and it has to be balanced. As you know, all city budgets in Ontario must be balanced. We can't leave a deficit, and they're always balanced. So this is what we're going to do on Wednesday. There are some areas where we think there's maybe more needs that haven't been met by the budget committee or the mayor yet. But I just want to emphasize that we wouldn't have the pressures on us that we do if it weren't for this strong mayor powers that the mayor sought and was given by Doug Ford.
And for people who don't live in Ontario, that is, as you said, it comes from the Ontario Premier, extended to both Mayor Tory of Toronto, Mayor Mark Sutcliffe of Ottawa. Mayor Sutcliffe said no to the powers, but Mayor Tory accepted them.
Well, I think Mayor Tory admitted he asked for them, actually. But in this upcoming by-election, because we're going to have a by-election, assuming the mayor actually does resign, then I certainly will not support a mayor candidate that says they want to use these powers, which will be very surprising to people across Canada, a veto power over decisions. And the shocking one, instead of a majority vote, 1/3 vote can carry something. The mayor can say, no, we're going to re-vote, and with 8 votes, then everything can pass. It's really unprecedented, highly undemocratic, and I certainly wouldn't support anybody that wanted to use those. So bravo to Mayor Sutcliffe in Ottawa.
So again, the timeline, the Mayor Tory accepts these powers and now is resigning amid this scandal. You, as I said, you've been a councillor since 2003. You've been there for almost 20 years. And that is, we should point out, longer than Mayor Tory in Toronto Council. So what's your reaction to the revelation of this relationship and the decision to resign?
Well, I did live through and was a councillor in the Rob Ford era and the David Miller mayor, and I've seen a lot in my time. This reaction, he said he had a lapse in judgment, and yes, he did. I think the real lapse in judgment was deciding to run for a 3rd term, knowing that he had this issue with this relationship that could come up and emerge at any time. So he these decisions, which perhaps are total lapses in judgment, have really put the city in a difficult place. We're only 12 weeks into our term for this council term, and we have a mayor who's now leaving that ran for a 3rd term. People think it's quite odd. I think it's quite odd, but our city council needs to be firm and resolute the same way we were during the time that we had all the issues with Mayor Ford. We stayed strong. We were very mature, and I think this council can be the same way. But these are really the issues that are in front of us. I think it's really sad that we're in this situation. I'm very disappointed we find ourselves in this situation. As Canada's largest city, a lot of people depending on us, many different big problems. We shouldn't be spending all our time dealing with something like this.
Before we're done, I do want to ask you, though, what kind of training do councillors get about workplace relationships? How strictly is that policy enforced?
Well, we do have a code of conduct, You know, city government is one where mostly the issues that we're dealing with are not making sure that we're not attracted by the many dollars that flow here, that we're not overly lobbied, that we're not being compromised in any way. I think a workplace relationship is a workplace relationship. In this case, it was one that he's disclosed with being a staff member and being the CEO, because the mayor is the CEO and now the strong mayor. It just gives extra weight to what might be considered an inappropriate relationship by him, which has been considered by him and by many other people. I think people are very disappointed in what seemed like a very straight-laced mayor to find out that this has been going on for a number of years.
Well, certainly people well outside Toronto are watching all of this very closely. Councillor Fletcher, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Michael.